It's so funny that up to this moment, Mark does not know the kind of woman that he's married to. Like, why does he still always, or why does he always say, oh, Vivian can be anything, but she cannot do this. Vivian can be this, but cannot be this. Like, this guy actually thinks he knows Vivian. But then again, he doesn't even know one bit. He doesn't even know anything about Vivian. It's so unfortunate that even at this point, he's still dragging, he's still arguing, he's still thinking if what Ben has been saying about Vivian is true or not. Do you all know that this lady has actually, threatened this guy's life for the fourth time now? She always said this thing that if you don't mind yourself, I'm going to do with you. I'm going to do that. I don't make empty threats. I take actions instead of doing this. And this guy does not still accept the fact that everything that Ben has said about, Vivian is just what she is. Is Mark just trying to be mischievous? Is Mark just trying to, pretend? Or he's actually sure that he knows the woman that he's married to? Hello, besties. You're welcome to today's episode of Another Wrong Marriage. Before we continue in this episode, guys, if you're watching from YouTube, you already know that I analyzed in Lisa's accident scene. I gave you reasons why I thought Vivian is responsible for what happened to Lisa. And I also analyzed the scene to make you understand that whoever that did that to Lisa, it was intentional. And the reason why Vivian, we actually want to harm Lisa, who happens to be the least of her problem, instead of Ben, who is her major problem at this point. So if you're watching from other social media handle, just be rest assured, don't worry. I'm going to be dropping the link to my YouTube channel, so you go check that video out. Every effort made to upload that video on TikTok and Facebook was just fruitless, but then I got you all. Moving on, guys. It's just so annoying that up to this moment, Mark does not know the kind of person that he's married to. It's the way he's always trying to cover up for her, always feeling that she's not capable of a particular thing for me. And in her head, or rather in his head, he actually thinks he knows Vivian very well, but then he doesn't. Now, guys, do you also realize that Vivian is not responsible for taking Nick's life? But the big question is, if Vivian is not responsible for that, then who actually took Nick's life? That's a very big question. But then again, think about it. Two people had this plan of taking Nick's life, okay? I remember why they were having this plan. Madam Stella actually told Vivian that she should not worry about Nick, that she was going to take care of Nick, okay? So if Vivian did not take Nick's life, did not make that plan, just remember that Madam Stella already told Vivian that Vivian should not worry about Nick, that she's going to handle Nick. Guys, also know that yes, even though Vivian did not directly order people who took Nick's life, she's also part of the plan. She has it in her mind. In her heart of hearts, she wants Nick out of the way. So this is actually mission accomplished to Vivian. Vivian is happy that Nick is out of the way. But then she's contemplating who would have done that, because this is something she has already planned that she was going to do. Okay. Vivian is happy that yes, that even though she's not part of those, or she did not instruct anyone to take Nick's life, she's somehow happy that Nick is out of the way, because at this point there is no one that will be demanding anything from her. She's just going to concentrate right now with the mother and think of how to leave town, because Vivian has no plans of staying with Mark anymore. Vivian plans leaving town, and that was why she said immediately she lay hands on that money that she's going to run far away. So guys, Vivian is not aware of what happened to Nick. She's lost. But then again, she already had this plan with the mother that they were going to take Nick's life. So Vivian saying that she's not truly aware of what happened to Nick is a total lie, because even though she did not instruct the people that, carried out the job, she was part of the planning. And remember, when they were having this discussion, the mother actually told Vivian that Vivian should not worry, that she's going to take care of Nick and his excesses. And Madam Stella, we all know, is a talk and do woman. She's not about wasting time in carrying out her action, and she carried it out even without informing. I'm sure that Vivian is just going to call her on phone or run to her father's house to find out if it was the mother that actually did that, and pass the message to the mother. Okay. Now, talking about Mark is a confused human being. Like, I don't understand why every point he's trying to defend Vivian. He's trying to prove that he knows his wife very well. Even after, Ben will say something, he will say, oh, I know Ben doesn't lie. I know Ben just don't talk anyhow. But then again, Vivian can be this. And like this, those his lines are not common. It's every time that Mark can always defend and say what he knows about Vivian, what Vivian can do, and what Vivian cannot do, without even imagining the fact that, to me, at this point, what Vivian and Madam Stella cannot do, I don't think it exists, truly, because those people are a terrible set of people. So, guys, what do you have to say about Mark? And then the fact that Vivian is always threatening Mark's life. Like, it hasn't this passed enough message to him already? Now, even though he's doubting the fact that, okay, Vivian, it's possible that Vivian did not take Mark's life, Mark has actually accepted the fact that there are high chances, that Vivian has actually taken Mark's life, or took Nick's life rather. Even though Mark feels that Vivian, cannot do certain things, with everything he has remembered, his encounter, wearing the hood and coming back late at night, and then coming back to meet Vivian preparing egusi soup and pounded yam for Nick, something he's quite sure that Vivian can never do for him. For Vivian to be doing it for another person, he actually knew that there was more to that. But then, Mark is that person who is just careless. Like, he doesn't reason things. In fact, Mark can be senseless. That's the truth. He doesn't reason at all. Because if I come back to an environment where I feel like, okay, this person cannot do this thing for me despite my relationship with this person, but can do it for a total stranger, then it should be a pointer to me that there is more to that act of kindness than normal. So, guys, what do you think? Do you think that Mark is just trying to be funny, just trying to be mischievous, or he is trying to pretend, or he actually knows the truth but telling himself lies about what he knows about Vivian? So, guys, what do you think about this? Will Vivian think of taking Mark's life at this point, considering the fact that this is about the third time she's saying the same thing to Mark, that if Mark does not mind his business, that she's going to come from Mark? Painful that Helen knows a lot about Vivian and what Vivian is capable of doing, but her problem is always taking action. Like, what is wrong with Helen? She's very calculative. She likes using her instincts. In fact, she can calculate, she can analyze things. But the problem with Helen is that she's just so slow to action, and it's so annoying, because for the second time again, Helen knows that Vivian is responsible for what happens to Lisa. But then again, Helen is one person who is not ready to take action concerning what she knows about, Vivian. Check this case of Uju. Till today, Helen has not said anything about it. So even though Helen is putting two and two together to kind of suspect, Vivian, based on the fact that the doctor said, according to the standby, on-by people who kind of watch or saw the scene, okay, that they said the person that did that was a woman and she zoomed off after carrying the art. Helen is already putting two and two together to say, okay, it's possible that Vivian is responsible for what happened to Lisa. But then, will Helen take action? That is another question for another day. So thank you all for your love.